So, talking to Dr. Clyde Puli, you're the Maltese Parliamentary Secretary for both Youth and Sport. We're here at an event in Valletta in Malta to talk about youth policy as it relates to the European Union. And the event is being run by the European Economic and Social Committee. There's some interesting topics that have been raised. So, firstly, what do you think is the position currently, both in member state level and at European level, for youth policy? Is enough being done?
Well, how much is enough would be difficult to determine, of course, but I think that at least we are talking about it, both on European level and as member states, and that means we are giving value and importance to the idea of communicating and involving young persons in our society. Of course, because we realize that around 20-25% of the population, of the European population, is actually made of young people, so they are not only the people of tomorrow, the people of the future, but they are already there today, and they have a very good contribution to give.
Okay. Now, it seems that there must be things that can be done to help encourage more young people politically. What are your thoughts? What sort of steps could we take?
Yes, first of all, we are operating and militating in a different system, a very different system, a radically changed system, I would say. For most of the new member states would be even more different than we were operating 20-30 years ago. So the first thing is that we have to adapt to new ways of doing things. And that means that involving people in politically would mean involving people in different political spheres. So it is not maybe the era of mass movements anymore, but it is the era of political issues with a smaller p. And that would mean that different people would be or interested in moving into particular issues. So animal welfare would be a political issue today. Environment would be a political issue today. It's not anymore about liberty or democracy. That has become the status quo. It has become an accepted state of affairs everywhere in the European Union. So we have to find these political niches, and we have to give the tools, and we have to empower these young people to have access to voice their opinions on their preferred subjects.
It's interesting that you just mentioned the tools, and downstairs in the event there's been a lot of talk about the use of Twitter and Facebook, partly because of the changes going on in North Africa and the Middle East. What do you think? Is it the tools, or is it the content, or is it both?
No, it is both. It is the tools and the content, but definitely the tools do define also the content, and the content defines the tools. When we are talking about the social network, it is actually changing the way we relate to each other. So it is also, as I said earlier, as Marshall McLuhan would have it, the medium is the message. So if the medium is the language that the young person speak, it means that you can involve them more by using this type of language. So it's not just about a tool. You cannot just simplify it in that way. A European character would be the public square. You would have a church, a cathedral, and then a public square where people used to meet. The social network is the new public square where people meet. So it is the new place where communities form. It is the new language. It is the new system. So if we are to integrate young people, it is all about getting them connected.
Okay. Now this, as I said earlier on, this is an event run by the Economic and Social Committee, and the actual event today is titled "How Can Civil Society Appeal to and Communicate with Young People?" What do you think?
Yes, first of all, civil society has to appeal to young people. It has an obligation to do that, because politics is done more in the level of civil societies than the state per se, or governments and political parties. That means that if the civil society is not effective in attracting more young persons to its ranks, then the whole community, the whole society is failing. The how is a bigger question. So we know that this is important. We do appreciate this objective, but how it needs further discussion. Definitely, we won't attract young people by talking down to them. First of all, we have to make the issues look, sound relevant to them. We have to see what is really relevant to them. Maybe they are fed up with some old ways and old-fashioned movements. So the first thing you have to do is you have to listen. It has to come bottom up and not the other way around.